सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। वाक्यार्थ विचारण अध्यवसान निवृत्ता ही ब्रह्मावगति अनुमानादि प्रमाणांतर निर्वृत्ता। So ब्रह्मावगति ब्रह्म ज्ञान, recognition of oneself is the result of the analysis of what the Vedanta Vakyas are pointing to. Vakya, Artha, Vicharana, Adhyavasana, Nirvritta. Vakya, Artha, the meaning of the Vakya. Or the Vakya, Vedanta Vakyas are pointing to something within man's experience, pointing something. And Vakartha, Vichara. And one has to study them. Are they talking? Let's study. Vichara, Adhyavasana, and recognizing, determining what they are talking. Nirvritta, meaning accomplished. What is accomplished? Brahmavagatihi. Recognition of the self as Brahman is the result of the study of the Vedanta Vakyas. What are they pointing to? What are they pointing? Just seeing what they are pointing to is what leads to recognition of the truth. Na anumanadi pramanantara nirvutta. It is not born of mere logic based on pratyakshadi praman. Sense data based logic is not going to lead to Brahma Vidya. Sense data based logic is called technically logic. Technically logic means pratyaksha based thinking. That is the technical definition of logic, anumana. Vedanta also uses logic, but not based on pratyaksha, but based on anubhava. Logic helps man understand. Logic helps man correct the illogicality. But the logic that is used by the Shruti is based on the universal anubhava, aparoksha anubhava that is already there, which is pointed out by the Shruti. Therefore, don't think that Brahma Sutras are just a book of logic. They are Vakya Mimamsa. They are studying the Vakya. Sutras help man study the Vakyas. In fact, they study for us. They analyze for us. See the Vakya? So, Vakyartha Vicharana Vichara Adhyavasana Nirvrittahi Brahmavagatihi. Now, Anumanantara Anumanadi Pramanantara Nirvritta. Satsutu Vedanta Vakyeshu. Sati Saptami. When there are Vedanta Vakyas, Satsutu Vedanta Vakyeshu. are Vedanta Vakyas. Jagataha Janmadi Karana Vadishu. What are these Vakyas? Jagataha, of the Jagat, Jagatka. Janmadi Karana Vadishu. Vadi means batane wala. Jagataha Janmadi Karana Vadishu means when there are Vakyas talking about the source of Jagat. Jagataha Janma Adi Karana Vadishu. When there are Vakyas talking about the source, support and end of Jagat. Satsutu Vedanta Vakya. So Brahma Sutras are not really unfolding, they are not talking about Jagat Karana. Vedanta is the Shabda Pramanam which talks about Jagat Karana. Those Vakyas are analyzed by Brahma Sutras so that the student, it becomes easier for the student to understand, to study and understand the Vakyas. Studying Brahma Sutras is studying Vakyas, Vedanta Vakyas. So, Satsutu Vedanta Vakyeshu Jagataha Janmadi Karana Vadishu Tad Artha Grahana Dardhyaya. For a correct knowledge of that. Tadartha means, the vision of the Vedanta Vakyas. Vakyartha. Grahana means grasping. Dardhya means dridata. For. Dardhyaya means for. The firmness in understanding about the vision of the Vakyas. For the firmness, Dardhyaya is a word meaning for the correct grasp of, to help the student gain a correct grasp of the vision of the Vakyas. Tadartha Grahana Dardhyaya. Dardhyam. Dardhyaya. For that purpose. Anumanam api. Even logic based on Anubhava. Anumanam api. Vedanta Vakya Avirodhi. The logic that is not opposed to Vedanta Vakyas. Vedanta Vakya Guru. So we use logic, but not opposed to Vedanta. What does that mean? Opposed to Vedanta Vakyas means not opposed to Anubhava. Not opposed to Anubhava means agreeing with Anubhava. Agreeing with Anubhava means based on Anubhava. Bas. Unopposed to Vedanta Vakyas means unopposed to one's Anubhava. Not sense data. Unopposed to Anubhava. And Anubhava is something that is independent of the senses and thought. If Anubhava were synonymous with the senses and the thought, then it would be sense data. So Anubhava is something that is experienced, Anubhava is felt. There is Anubhava, Jiva has Anubhava independent of the senses and the thought. The very negation of the senses and the thought is Anubhava, which is independent of senses and the thought. So, agreeing with that particular Anubhava, we use logic unopposed to Vedanta Vakyas, meaning unopposed to Anubhava, meaning agreeing with Anubhava, meaning to facilitate the recognition of the Anubhava. It is unopposed to Vakya, unopposed to Anubhava. In fact, it is meant to convey the Anubhava. It is meant to correct the error about the Anubhava. It is meant to correct the error about the Anubhava. That kind of Anumanam, that kind of logic Anumanamapi Vedanta Vakya Avirodhi Anuman. It is Avirodhi. Anuman means neuter gender. Therefore, Avirodhi. Otherwise it will be Avirodhini, Avirodhi. Masculine gender, Avirodhi. Dandi, in masculine gender, Dandi, Dandinav, Dandinaha. Neuter gender, Dandi, Dandini, Dandini. Dandini, Dandini. Therefore, Avirodhi. What is it? Which gender? Oh, neuter. Why? Anumanam. Anumanam, the inference is what? Neuter gender, Anumanam. Vedanta Vakya Avirodhi Pramanam Bhavat. Pramanam Bhavat, becoming Pramanam, valid. Logic unopposed to Vedanta Vakyas is also Pramanam. Pramanam, not independent Pramanam. It is Pramanam in keeping with the Anubhava, the Vedanta Vakya. It's a part of Vakya. Pramanam Bhavat, Praman hote hue. Pramanam Bhavat, Praman hote hue. Anivaryate, it's not avoided. It's not neglected, it's not avoided, it's accepted. Na nivaryate, na nivaryate, nich and yak. Na nivaryate, nivarayati, varayati, nivarayati. Then passive voice, nivaryate. Na nivaryate is not avoided. What is not avoided? Logic that is in keeping with Vakyas and Anubhava. So Vedanta does use logic, but not based on projection. If the topic is an object, then in studying that object we base logic, we use logic based on sense data. But here we are the topic of the study is the aparoksham. A reality that exists independent of the whole Jagrat and Swapna. Independent of thought. Whose existence is independent of thought. Therefore, Vedanta Vakya Avirodhi Pramanam Bhavatu Na Nivaryate. Shutya evacha, and it is accepted by Shruti. Shutya evacha, by Shruti itself. Sahayatvena, as a help in conveying. Shruti uses logic as a help. It uses logic to help itself in conveying the truth. Shruti uses logic to help in conveying. To help in conveying means to help the student in understanding. Helping the student in grasping. Ahayatvena, as a means, as a help. Tarkasya, tarkaka. Abhyupetatva, because it is accepted. Abhyupagatatvat. Abhyupetatvat means abhyupagatatvat. In dhatu, nishtha is ita, upa plus ita, upeta, abhi plus upeta, abhyupeta. Then tvat, abhyupetatvat, because it has been accepted. What has been accepted? Tarka has been accepted by the Shruti, has been used by the Shruti as a means, as a help in conveying the truth and in helping the student grasp. Therefore, we are not anti-Tarka, nor we are Tarkikas. Neither we are simply Tarkikas like other Tarkikas who use logic based on the sense data. Neither we go by logics based on sense data, nor are we averse to tarka. Tarka has its right, tarka has its role to play. Right? And without tarka, what can you do? You can't talk. The drashta has to be other than drishyam. It is tarka. The seer has to be other than the seen. What is it? Tarka. The illuminer has to be other than, is unlike the illumined. The illuminer is unlike the illumined. What is it? Tarka. Tarka. Tarka means what? Sanity. Sense. Tarka. So, it is like, sir, if the body itself is knowing itself, then it should continue to know even while burning. So, if there is someone who knows the body, then it should be other than the body. And if you say the body knows itself, then every object has to know itself, then you can't touch anybody. You can't touch anything. Just you don't want to be touched anyway. This is all what? Tarka. Therefore, if you leave tarka, then you can't think and you can't talk. The whole thinking has to be on the lines of tarka. Tarka is not bad. Bad tarka is bad. Bad tarka is bad, but tarka is light. Good tarka means when you are talking about an object, the tarka must be based on the sense data. When you are talking about the self, then the tarka must be based on anubhava. That is good tarka. Therefore, living logic is a part of Vedanta Pramana. Vedanta Pramana uses tarka. Pramana Vakyam is this. It sees Jiva as Advitiya Atma, Advitiya Brahman, that vision. The Shruti looks at every prani as the Advitiya Atma. That vision, it states, thou art Brahman is Shruti. Thou art Brahman is Shruti. To make it understandable to man, it has to analyze the anubhavas, it has to analyze the avasthas, it has to make the student do vichara, and that all comes under tarka. That is why we have Shruti and Yukti, Agama and Yukti. Agama means taking the vision. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, all this is Brahman, it's a vision. Jiva is Brahma, I am Atma, Brahma. That's why in Mandukya the first prakaranam is Agama prakaranam, just stating the vision. Stating the vision of the Shruti. Then to make that vision understandable, then we have the second, third, fourth prakaranam. To explain it. For that we have to use the tarka based on anubhava. If it is not based on anubhava, then it is of no use. It is no. You can't really use sense data based logic to convey the truth of the source. And that is why Shrutya Yevahi, well, Sahayatvena Tarkasya Abhibedatvat Tathaki. And see, the Shruti itself, when it gives the Vidhi, when it says that in order to be free, you have to know yourself. Atma va are drashtavyaha. And in order to know, what should one do? Shrotavyaha. Has to be, you have to hear about yourself. It is here, it is not listening to oneself. That is all problems. You have to listen to yourself. Hey, you don't listen to yourself. You have been doing only that all this life. All the life you have been listening to yourself, you have not been listening to anybody. You have not been listening to anybody, you have been listening only to yourself. That is all mystical. It's all mystical. You have to listen to your inner voice. What is their inner voice? What does your inner voice say? Where is the inner voice? Say, don't listen to yourself. Listen to about yourself. Shruti has got something to say. Listen about your nature, about your glory. Listen about your glory. That is called Shrotavyaha. Shrotavyaha does not mean that listen to yourself. And therefore, that means listen to the vision of the Shruti. Listen to the statements which state their vision about yourself. And to understand it, mantavyaha, study them. And look at your own anubhava. That is called reflection. Reflection is only verifying. There is nothing else. What the Shruti says, is it evident? That is called effort to verify the statements in one's own experience. That effort to verify is called reflection. What else is reflection? Every statement you hear and you try to verify. That effort to verify is called really mantavyaha. For that you require tarka. Mantavyaha iti shrutihi. That mantavyaha brings in tarka. Shrotavyaha is agama vakya. Listen to what they say and try to verify them in your own anubhava. That is, what they are saying, is it already evident? If it is going to be evident in future, then I can't verify them. What they say must be evident right now. What they say must be evident right now, then I can verify. I may not have understood it, so then I may not have registered what is evident, but it should be evident. Therefore, that word mantavyaha brings in tarka. That mantavyaha brings tarka. Therefore, Shruti itself advocates tarka. Shrotavyaha, mantavyaha. That mantavyaha, nididhyastavyaha both come under tarka. Recognizing with the help of studying the avasthas, etc. And then see what, then verify what the Shruti Vakya says. Thus, tarka we are not averse to, tarka we use, we respect. It is not just respecting, it is used to the full to convey. Iti shihi. Secondly, Shruti in Chandogya Shruti says, Pandito medhavi gandharane upasampadhyeta evameva ihacharyavan purusho veda. Supposing somebody, there is a story in Chandogya. A person was kidnapped from a village. And he is kidnapped from the region called Gandhara Desha. And that person was taken by the abductors. He was tied hand and foot and left in the middle of the forest. The abductors left him there. And then he cries for help, and no help comes. That is why in the society also when you cry, and if you don't get help, then it is called Aranya Rodanam. You understand? It is called what? Aranya Rodanam. So he was doing Aranya Rodanam. He was crying for help. Then ultimately some passer-by comes, and then he frees him from the ties, and then listens to him and explains to him, your Gandhara Desha is in this direction, you have to move this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. He just gives him the road map, not just tells him, Shruti, Shabda Pramana, tells him, go this way, this way, this way, this way, this way, and also tells him the landmarks, etc. Now, if that person, having heard it, if he is dumb, he will not be able to reach. But if he is a Panditaha, and if he is a Medhavi, Shruti says Panditaha, Medhavi, you should really receive and remember. You should receive what the passerby said. You should listen to properly what he said and remember what he said, and also use his own uha poha. Uha poha means, certain, sometimes when you tend to make a mistake, you use your own common sense. Panditaha, Medhavi, if he is a Panditaha, if he is a Medhavi, then Gandharan eva, Gandhara Deshon ko Upasampadhyeta would reach. Evam, evameva, in the same manner. Iha, in the matter of Brahma Vidya, Acharyavan, the one who has Acharya, Purushaha, a student, Veda, Janati, he can understand. A person who is properly taught, and if that student is a Panditaha and a Medhavi, if he is not a person who is a blind believer, he must understand what is a Vakya, and he must understand what is verification. And verification of a reality means the reality must be already evident, available for my seeing. Therefore, if a person is a Panditaha, Medhavi, and if he is able to use the right reasoning and studies his own experiences, he can understand. There is no problem. This particular Vakya also brings in not only Shruti Vakyam, it also brings this Vakya. What does it bring? Why is it quoted here? It is quoted here to explain the need for Tarka. You are not able to understand, you are not able to hear. This Vakya is cited here to prove the absolute need of Tarka. The absolute need of Tarka. That doesn't mean that Tarka is something that is sense data based. Acharyavan Purusho Veda iti cha. In this manner, Purusha Buddhi Sahayam. Purusha Buddhi Sahayam Atmanaha Darshayati. The Shruti shows that it takes the help of man's reasoning for it to convey the truth. Shruti uses the jiva's buddhi. Buddhi means here tarka. Shruti takes the jiva's tarka for itself to convey the truth. Not that it uses its logic. It uses the jiva's tarka, because tarka means jiva. Jiva has the capacity for tarka, and Shruti takes the help of the Purusha Buddhi. Purusha Buddhi means Purusha Tarka. It takes the Purusha Tarka. It takes the help of the Purusha Buddhi, Purusha Tarka for itself to convey the truth. Are you able to follow? Minus the Buddhi, Purusha Buddhi Tarka, then it can't, then supposing it doesn't take the help of the Purusha Buddhi Tarka, then it should be able to convey to a buffalo also. Can it make the buffalo understand? Can Vedanta, along with Bhashya, Vyakhyanam, Vagera, Vagera? It can't. Why? There is no tarka in a buffalo. Therefore, whoever doesn't have tarka is what? Buffalo. That is called tarka. A buffalo doesn't have tarka, therefore whoever doesn't use tarka is a buffalo. And that is called tarka. That is tarka. Therefore, because the Shruti can't convey its vision to an animal, because it can't take the help of the animal's mind, because it doesn't have tarka. But Purusha Buddhi can take the help to convey. Thus, tarka we use, but don't say Brahma Sutras are a book of tarka. Brahma Sutras are a book doing the Mimamsa, studying the Vakyas. Brahma Sutras are studying the vision of Vedanta Vakyas. They are studying the vision of the Tatparyam of Vedanta Vakyas. And Vedanta Vakyas use the Tarka. And Sutras also use the Tarka for studying the Vakyas. Now we can't say Brahma Sutras are a book of logic. Can't say they're a book of logic. Oh, they use too much of logic. We are interested in study. This is all intellectualism. This is all too intellectual. Brahma Sutras are what? Too intellectual. It's intellectual. They are only helping you study Vedanta Vakyas. And Vakyas are pointing out the Vastu. And that Vastu you can understand because it is there right in one's own experience. Along with the error. And that error is corrected by the proper study of the Vakyas. I hope I have conveyed. So both the stands are wrong. Which one? That the Brahma Sutras only are a book of logic. Or Vedanta Vakyas are only logic. Vedanta is all logical. Devotion is all emotional. Now if you are a very devotional person, then devotion, Bhakti Yoga. If you are a very intellectual person, Vedanta. So if you take to Vedanta the intellectual, then you will be like a young one of a monkey. If you take to Bhakti, then you will be a young one of a cat. What do you want to be? If you are a cat's young one, you are taken care of. If you are a monkey's young one, you should take care of yourself. So if you are a Vedanti, then you have to fend for yourself. If you are a Bhakta, then Bhagavan takes care of you. It's all what? It's all not thinking. Our culture is a thinking culture. That is what I always, sometimes I cry in my heart. Such a thinking culture has been converted into a simplistic like any other. Thinking, analytical, it is a study, it is a culture that studies the truth and conveys the truth to And for that, as in the margins, you have so many other things. Bhakti is there, prayer is there, karma is there, that is there, this is there. What does it matter? But it is the pramana. So now, neither can we say Brahma Sutras are a book of logic, nor can we say they don't use logic. Darshayati Purusha Buddhi Sahayam. Atmanaha means apne liye. Here Atmanaha not for the Atma. Atmana means the Shruti Swasya. Atmanaha means Swasya. Shruti shows that the Purusha Buddhi shows that it takes the help of the Purusha Buddhi as a help to itself. Swasya, apne liye. Darshayati. Dharma jignasayam iva shrutyadayaha eva pramanam. Brahma jignasayam. Dharma jignasayam iva. In the case of dharma jignasa, in the case when we study the dharma, what is right, what is wrong, which ritual leads to which result, etc., etc. In the case of dharma jignasa, dharma jignasayam, Iva, as that dharma jignasayam, Iva, underline, and it should be in English, it should be translated like this, unlike. Unlike in the case of dharma jignasa. In dharma jignasa, you don't use really tarka. You simply believe what the rituals say. This particular ritual leads to this result. I don't know. I believe it. Why? Because that connection between the karma and phala is not in my anubhava. In my anubhava. Therefore, I simply go by what the Shruti says. So, dharma jignasayamiva Shrutyadayaha eva na pramanam brahma jignasayam. In brahma jignasa, Shruti alone doesn't become the sole pramanam. In brahma jignasa, Shruti doesn't become the only pramanam, unlike in the case of dharma jignasa. In dharma jignasa, Shruti is the only pramanam, no tarka. But in brahma jignasa, Shruti is pramanam and it uses also tarka, so it's a part of the pramana. In dharma jignasa, there is only Shruti alone. It says so, I believe it. Shrutyadaya na dharma jignasayam eva shrutyadayaha eva pramanam brahma jignasayam kintu. Lekin shrutyadayaha. When it comes to Brahma Jignasa, Shruti is a pramanam, Smriti also is a pramanam. And Anubhavadayascha, and Anubhava and Yukti. Shrutyadayaha means Shruti, Smriti, Aptavakyam. Anubhavadayaha means Anubhava and Yukti. Anubhavadayascha, Yatha Sambhavam, to the extent possible. Tenable, to the extent tenable. Iha, here, pramanam. In the matter of Brahma Jignasa, Shruti is pramanam, and Shruti based Smriti is pramanam, and the universal Anubhava is pramanam, and Anubhava based Tarka is pramanam. Shruti based Smriti is pramanam, and Anubhava based Tarka is pramanam. Shrutyadayaha Anubhavadayascha Yatha Sambhavam, to the extent it is tenable, to the extent possible. Don't bring in any logic. Don't bring in any Anubhava, universal Anubhava, the right Anubhava, the universal Anubhava. And Anubhava based Tarka. Yatha Sambhavam Iha in Brahma Vidya Pramanam is valid. So in Brahma Vidya, what is Pramanam? Shruti, Shabda Pramanam is Pramanam. Anubhava is Pramanam. Even one's own reasoning is pramanam, because pramanam means pramakaranam, that which conveys the truth. Pramanam. Why is it so? There in Dharma Jignasa, well, you go by tarka, etc. You only believe and go by the Shruti. But here you are accepting the tarka, etc. Why? Because anubhava avasanatvat. This pramanam culminates in anubhava. Anubhava avasanatvat. This whole study of Vedanta culminates in anubhava. Culminates in anubhava means culminates in recognizing the anubhava. And that very recognition of the anubhava is anubhava. Anubhava avasanatvat. How can you say it is already in anubhava? Because bhuta vastu vishayatvacha, because it's talking about a fact. Bhuta vastu vishayatvat. Bhuta vastu is its subject matter. Bhuta vastu means an accomplished fact. An evident fact is called bhuta vastu. Bhutam means here present. Bhavati. Siddham iti. Bhutam means siddham. Bhutam does not mean past here. Bhuta vastu. An evident fact. Vishayatva is the Vishaya, the topic for the Vedanta Vakyas. Therefore, an evident fact is it is called a fact because it is evident. A fact does not mean it has to be physical. Anything evident is a fact. Bhuta vastu. Therefore, anubhava avasanatvat bhuta vastu vishayatvacha brahmajnanasya. Brahmajnanam pertains to an evident fact, and it culminates in the anubhava. It culminates in anubhava means it doesn't lead to a new anubhava. It doesn't, Brahmajnanam does not end up in another thought. Brahmajnanam does not culminate in being another thought. Brahmajnanam culminates in tracing the thought in general to its own source. And in that sense it is anubhava avasanam. Supposing it ends up as a thought, then to handle that thought I require another knowledge. Any knowledge which ends up as a thought, and the thought again is like any other thought, then there is no difference between the thought of a thought and the thought of Brahman. There is a thought of thought with a sense of division between me and the thought, and there is a thought about Brahman, then there will be a sense of division between me and that Brahman. There is no difference between thought of a thought and thought of Brahman. If it were a thought of Brahman, then there is no difference. And to handle that division I require another thought. Therefore Brahmajnanam is not really vrityavasanam, but anubhava avasanam. Anubhava is not in the form of a thought. Anubhava is not in the form of another thought. If it ends up in a thought, then you require another jnanam to resolve that thought. Resolving means to trace it. I have to trace it. Because thought means the sense of division between me and the object. Therefore, Brahmajnanasya anubhava avasanatvat. Brahmajnanam, don't look upon Brahmajnanam as another thought. And because it culminates in anubhava, means in fact it pertains to what is anubhutam. And that jnanam is not in the form of another thought, because the jnanam is in the form of correction of thought. Brahma jnanam is in the form of correcting the thought that I am the form. not entertaining the thought that I am Brahman. Brahmajnanam is not in the form of the thought that I am Brahman. Brahmajnanam is in the form of the correction of the thought that I am the form. Like sleep is not the thought of sleep. This is a thought of the waking, that is the thought of the dream, and in the deep sleep state there is no thought of deep sleep. Sleep is not a thought of sleep. It is freedom from thought of the Jagrat. The very thought of freedom from the very thought of the Jagrat. Freedom from the very thought of the Jagrat is sleep. There it happens to be Laya. But in Jnanam, it is a correction of the thought of the Jivatvam. Correction of the thought of the Jivatvam is called Jnana. And that Jnana is not another thought. Then what is it? Anubhava avasanam. Anubhava avasanam. Are you able to follow? Calling Brahmajnanam also is like another thought. And to resolve that you require another jnana. Anubhava avasanatvat, and more important than that is bhutavastu vishayatvacha brahma. And Brahmajnanam pertains to the evident fact. Bhutavastu. And if it is pertaining to the evident reality, then what it says must be available for verifying. What it says must be available for verifying as it is. I can't interpret the truth. Interpretation is always a wrong interpretation, and correction of the interpretation is the Vakya. Shruti Pramanam is trying to correct the interpretation. Truth is not in the form of the interpretation of the truth. Truth is independent of thought. The existence of the self is independent of thought. And to be independent of thought means to be independent of the interpretation. And still if you interpret, it would be what? Wrong interpretation, it would be an error. It is an error, that the correction of that very wrong interpretation is called Brahmajnanam, which is the topic of Brahma Vakyas. Therefore, I have to verify the Vakyas in the light of the truth that is there in the form of Anubhava. If it is a question of interpretation, truth is available for interpretation. That means truth as it is not evident. Understand? Truth as it is not evident. I don't know what is truth as it is. If I don't know what is truth as it is, then it is all the time it is free for all. Then how do you verify? Verification is not possible. Because truth is not, supposing it is not available as it is. If it is available independent of thought, to be independent of thought is to be as it is. To be independent of thought is to be as it is. And that amounts to what? Anubhava. That amounts to Anubhava. And verifying the Vakyas is in the light of the Anubhava. And therefore, Bhutavastu Vishayatvat Anubhava Avasanatvacha Tarka is required. Tarka is used because I have to verify the Vakya in the light of my own Anubhava. What is the interpretation and what is the Vastu? What is the distortion and what is the Vastu? What is the actuality? Because any interpretation that I am a form is what? Interpretation. Universal interpretation means universal distortion. Interpretation is a synonym of Haji. Bas. interpretation is distortion. Is Sushupti interpretation? There is interpretation about Sushupti, but Sushupti is not interpretation. Freedom from thought is not interpretation. And having woken up and looking back at it, then you interpret. That is called distorted. Distorted means what? The Sushupti is looked upon as a negation of one's own existence. It is interpreted as Shunya. It is distortion. And Sushupti is interpreted as a negation of one's being. In Jagrat, one interprets oneself as a form. It is all what? Distortion. And that I am the form is a distortion, and that I disappear in Sushupti is a distortion. It has to be verified in the light of, in contrast to this Sushupti, which is Anubhava, which is not negation of oneself, because the negation of oneself cannot be one's own experience. Therefore, it is Advitiyatva Anubhava. Therefore, my interpretation that I am the form and my interpretation that I get negated is in contrast to my own Anubhava, and that Anubhava is not a matter of interpretation. So, there is a contrast between interpretation and the actuality. And seeing that contrast is what is called Manana. For that is the Tarka. Tarka is required. What is interpretation and what is actuality? Oh, there is no actuality. In fact, it is all subjective, everything. Hey, you can't say that, because freedom from thought is not interpretation. It is Anubhava. It is Vastu. That is why here he says, Anubhava sanatvat vastu bhuta vastu vishayatvat brahma jnanasya. When it comes to understanding the self, well, you have to listen to the vakyas and use the reason and contrast between the distortion and the vastu. For that you use the tarka. When it comes to actions, now this is one department. Brahmajnanam is one department. And then we have another department called the do's and don'ts. Actions. Karna. I must achieve something in life. I have to achieve it quickly, because whatever I have to achieve, I should achieve before I am 50. See? And then afterwards you can extend on it. Jiva wants to make some achievement in the world. That is what is called karma, karma bhumi. Now Bhashyakara says in the case of the karma bhumi, it is different. How? Kartavye ki vishaye, when it comes to doing an action. Kartavye ki vishaye, in the matter of doing an action. Na anubhava apeksha asti. There is no need for anubhava. It doesn't presuppose anubhava. For doing an action, I am not trying to see what is, I am trying to create what is not. Na anubhava apeksha asti. Neither the act, before I do the action, neither action is evident nor the result is evident. Understand? That is why dharma is bhavya. Action is yet to be born. The result is yet to be born. Therefore, before I do the action, I make a sankalpa to do the action. Now what am I doing? I am trying to create an action, result of Atma. But I am trying to create an action which is hitherto, which has not been there hitherto. That means I am creating an action. Creating what is not. I am performing an action. And that action creates the result that has not been there hitherto. I create an action which was not there before, and the action creates the result which was not there before. Therefore, what is action? Bhavyaha. What is the result? Bhavyaha. What is Brahman? Bhuta. It is Bhutavastu. It is already is. Is means not as a matter of belief is. It is choicelessly evident to be. The being of one's own being is the being of the truth. One's own existence is Bhutam. Therefore, when it comes to kartavyehi vishaye, the matter of an action, I do an action that is not there, the action creates the result that is not there, and in that realm, in that department, kartavyehi vishaye na anubhava apeksha asti. Quotable quote. There is no need for anubhava. See, therefore, Shrutyadinameva pramanyam. Therefore, Shruti alone is the praman. When it comes to the ritual which I haven't done, the ritual that is not there, I create a ritual. And ritual creates result. Before I create the ritual, it's not in my experience. Before I get the result is not that pleasure. The result of ritual is pleasure, that mental pleasure. It may bring an object I enjoy, and that enjoyment is in the form of sukha vritti, and that sukha vritti, is it evident? Before I create the ritual, before I perform the ritual, is the ritual evident? No. Before that, is the phalam evident? No. And I don't know whether it is going to create the result or not, also I don't know. I believe what the Shruti says and I perform. Some jnanam I have, action has a result. Action has a result. That is again not anubhava or anything. That cannot be called anubhava. Action has a result. This is a law of karma. But any particular action before I do it, it is not there. The pleasure before I get it is not evident. Not evident. That means what I am creating an action that is so far that has not been there, and that brings the result that was not there. That means what? It is unlike registering what is already evident. So it is bhavyam, not bhutam. Anubhava apekshastiti shrutyadinameva pramanyam syat. Shrutyadinameva pramanyam syat. Only shrutis become the kevala pramanam, not tarka, etc. Shrutyadinameva pramanyam syat. Not only that, purusha adhina atmalabhatvacha. This is something great. Purushthina atma labhatva. They gain their existence because of me. Action comes into existence because I bring it into existence. And I bring the pleasure also into existence. I am the author. We are the author of an action. We are the author of the results. But we are not the author of the truth. We are not the author. So when it comes to authoring an action, and by way of an action, well, authoring the result, when we author the actions and the results, and those actions and results cannot be called realities. You can't say that is the truth. You can't say that is the truth. Neither action is the truth because I author it. The result I author. How can that be the truth? What I create is not the truth. If there is truth, I tell you that should be independent of my action and then it should not be authored by me. If it is not, if there is something which is not authored by me, if that is the truth, then I tell you it is only oneself. Oneself, not as an individual. Because parents will come and say, idiot, you haven't authored yourself, but we have authored you. Are you able to follow? Individuality. Therefore, the Advitiyatvam that is experienced where the individuality resolves, that's Satsampatti. Our individuality resolves, our thought resolves in our own being, and that being which is not in the form of a thought, that is not authored. Even thought is authored in the sense it has a beginning and then it is a mithya jnanam. Of course, it's not Purusha Buddhi, it's not deliberately done. Individuality also is not really the truth, because individuality also resolves. When it comes to the department of action and results, there we only believe and we believe the Shastram and perform the rituals and get the result. The action I author, the pleasures that I get in future are what? Authored by us. Authored by action. That's what Krishna says. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. You author the actions and actions would author the results. You don't worry, because you can't author a result directly. You can't author a result directly, you can only author action and leave it. Result is not in your hands. Meaning what? You author the action and action authors the result. And that way you have authored the result. That is why the result has to come to you, because you are the author. You are not the direct author. The result has to come to me because I have authored it. I have done the action, so the result has to come to me. Within that department, Krishna tells something very nice. It is true that you have authored an action. It is also true that you have authored the results, but there is something to understand. That is, your authorship is over when you perform an action, and afterwards, action will author the result. Don't worry about the result. Worry about the quality of your action. Take care of your right actions. Right results will be taken care of. And when the results come to you, they will come to you exactly the way you deserve, keeping in view the past, etc., etc. Plus minus करके आपको मिल जाएंगे. ये प्रॉब्लम वहीं पर है, वो प्लस माइनस. तो प्लस माइनस करके ही मिलेंगे. And therefore, that is an unfoldment. That is what is said, karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. It doesn't mean really perform action and don't expect the result. This is something alien. This is not thinking. This is thinking. Our Shastra is a thinking literature. It is an unfolding literature. It is great literature. And that has been looked up. We are putting it in a very simplistic sense. We are not diluting it. We are distorting it. We are making it simplistic. Perform action, don't expect the result. What is this? Now here, in the matter, in the department of actions and results, you go by the Shruti. Now please see. Nanum anubhavapekshaasti di shutyadinamev pramanyam syat purusha adhina. This is what I want you to understand. Purusha adhina means in the hands of Purusha. Purusha, depending upon the person. Purusha adhina. Atma labhatvacha, they gain their existence. Atma labha means swastya labha. Karma gains, apna labha means karma gains its existence through Purusha. The jiva who performs, the actor. The action gains existence with the help of the actor, the Purusha. The result also in fact gains existence with the help of that action. Okay, we leave that. Actions gain their existence with the help of Purusha. Therefore, what is karma? Purusha, adhina, atma labham karma. Karma is that which gains existence with the help of the Purusha, the actor. Can that be the truth? Can that be the truth? Action cannot be the truth. Therefore, the result also cannot be the truth. Because ultimately, indirectly, who is the author? Purusha Buddhi. Purusha. Therefore, all your wealth, your name, your fame, your all feelings and your pleasures, all that ecstasies, whatever, all what? Karma, phala, authored by Purusha. You are the author, and it is like, you author something and then you exalt in it. कितना बढ़िया ने बनाया, enjoy it. ये मैंने बनाया. You create something and exult in it. You work for something and you get something and you exult in it. Can that be the truth? Neither our actions can be the truth, nor their results can be the truth. They all just die out, because they have a lifespan. Because action has yat kritakam tad anityam. To Vedanti Vakya लाएंगे. All that you have done is anityam, and all the actions result also, the result of action also is non-eternal. Why? Yat kritakam tad anityam. Whatever is authored by you is non-eternal. Supposing I have a big estate, even if it is a big estate is what? That is also authored by you. Therefore here, thus Bhashyakara is taking pains to show the difference between the topic of Vedanta and karma. Atmalabhatvacha kartavyasya, an action. Kartavya means karmanaha. And the difference. And when it comes to an action which I am the author of, I have a choice. I can do it, I need not do it, I can author it, I need not author it, I can always author it differently. But when it comes to Bhutavastu Brahma, I can't know it this way, that way, or I need not know it, I can't say. I have to know it and I have to know it as it is. I have to know it. I have no choice. And know it as it is. As it is, where is that truth as it is? When you say you have to know the truth as it is, now it should be available as it is. It should be available as it is. And where is it available as it is? Can you say as it is will be known only when I know it? After knowing I will come to know what it is when as it is. Can you say that? Say as it is, it should be evident. Then I register it as it is evident. That is called understanding it as it is. And it is available as it is. As it is also available. That very experience of freedom from thought is, it is as it is. Which is the truth of the Jagrat and Swapna. When you say you have to know yourself as you are, it's okay, it's quote unquote. First of all, the truth must be evident as it is. If it is not evident as it is, how can I know, how can I register it as it is? And where is it as it is? And when you try to track down as to where it is as it is, if you try to track down as to where is it available as it is, in that very effort to track down you discover what it is. And it has to be independent of thought. Has to be independent of thought. Where there is independence, where there is freedom from thought, that is not a matter of interpretation, that is as it is. That is Advitiyam. Therefore, in the matter of Bhuta Vastu, I have no choice. in the matter of an action, I have a choice to do this way, that way, and not to do. I can author an action. I need not author an action. I can author it this way, that way. I mean, you can use, that's where the choice is, the so-called choice. But when it comes to understanding the vastu, I have no choice in understanding it. I must know it because I have no choice over freedom. Meaning my love for freedom is choiceless. Therefore, understanding the truth is choiceless. And understanding it as it is choiceless. That means there are no vikalpas in Brahma Jnanam. There are no options. Brahma Jnanam. As in the matter of karma, we have got options. In the matter of Brahma Jnanam, you have no option. And that also Bhagavan says here, kartum, akartum, anyatha va kartum shakyam, laukikam, vaidikam cha karma. Kartum, to do, akartum, not to do, anyatha va kartum, or to do it differently, shakyam, is possible, laukikam karma, empirical action, vaidikam cha karma, and Vedic action. Whether it is empirical action or Vedic rituals, any action, any action. I can do it, I need not do it, I can do it otherwise. This choice alone people think as freedom. Understand? The choice to do, not to do it otherwise is all the definition of freedom. For man can only grasp this much. What is freedom? मैं करूँगा या I may do it, I need not do it, or I can do it. Otherwise, बस इतना ही है. That's all that's called freedom. It is not freedom, it is choice, please. Freedom is different from choice. You use your choice also for freedom, and you fail to get the freedom through your choice, because freedom is not the result of choice. Freedom is the nature of this vastu, which should be a matter of knowledge, and that knowledge involves no options. Whereas just doing or not doing or doing otherwise alone is taken as freedom. Manmarziness. Manmarziness is a universal choice. That's not a big deal. So, kartum, akartum, anyatha va kartum shakyam, laukikam, vaidikam cha karma. And then he says, yatha ashvena gacchati, like, if you want to reach some place, ashvena gacchati, by means of horse one goes, padbhyam gacchati, or he can go walking, anyathava, or by other means, or nava gacchati. Nava gacchati, or he may not go. He may go by horse, or he may go walking, or he may decide not to go. This is what is called freedom. This is what is available, understand. This is not freedom that you should gain. This is the choice that you already have. This is a choice that you already have. Don't keep that as the goal. You already have it. But if you think that very choice is freedom, then it is an error in thinking. It is an error in thinking. Naturally, how can they know what is freedom? They have the definition of freedom. It is not freedom of choice is freedom. Therefore, this kind of choice, kartum, akartum, anyatha va kartum shakyam, this kind of choice is very much there in the department of karma. But in understanding yourself, this kind of choice is not there. Yatha ashvena gacchati padbhyam anyatha va nava gacchati. And this is the choice in empirical action. This is the choice in the empirical action. And you also have choice in Vedic rituals. Also a choice in the matter of Vedic rituals. And that choice is pointed out in the next line. I think that we will see. Next we can put a mark. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Very good.
Very good, very good.
And I saw Swamiji on the television.
Very good, yes.
He was there with Sri Shri
Yeah.
Ravi Shankar. It was a pleasure.
Only what he said in one vakya, that only made the whole sense in the whole Adambaram.
Correct, correct.
That one statement is...
One statement he made.
Only one vakya he said. That is what should make people think. See, Swamiji makes people think. We require teachers. They are rather than, Adambaram. Acha, it's good for Hinduism. Everybody is going Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. It's very good. At least Islam is kept away. But then, really, make them think. There is no thinking. There is no thinking at all. Simply basking in the peace, non-violence. This is oneness of God, universal peace, these all got values. They are very good. That is very good. He kind, not this guilty. Swami said one thing, one sentence. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, we don't want to make everybody a part of our family. Means convert everybody to our religion. We don't want to make everybody a part of our family. We look upon, we recognize the fact that the whole creation is one family. Not that we convert, it is not that we want to make you a part of our family. When he was talking to the Angrezis that he was there, we don't want to make the other countries a part of our family because we are already overpopulated. We don't want to make you a part of our family as you are trying to. We look upon, we understand the whole humanity is one family. It is already one family, not to be made one family. It's enough. One statement is enough. That is the hub of our culture. That is the heart of Vaidika vision. Not just making us a part. Are you able to follow? We don't have to make other countries a part of your family. I heard that one sentence. Chalo, kam se kam. That conference has gained some validity now. They made that one vakya good enough. Otherwise, what is it? Hello, ye lo ji. It becomes very handy. Otherwise it becomes only Hari Om ji, alright. People, my God, how much of crowd and so many from so many, all the time they are announcing. People from China should come. So that it's all hype. It's all hype. They know how to hype. These people, all these organizers, they know the hype. It's all clever. About people. You can't build up an institute like that. All our sadhus are very clever. They are not dumb, they are very clever. That cleverness can make them really rise or they can just go into the cave. But they are very clever. So, all the time you are announcing Chinese and that country, this country, just to create impression, we have got people from all over the world. All okay, and they're all emotional, there is no vidya there. There is no vidya. There is no vidya. We require, even in simple language, you can tell them vidya. End of it, we say it's great. We have to, because people have not talking about, they are talking about non-violence, they are talking about peace, they are talking about oneness of God, They're talking about oneness of humanity. They have beautiful, lovable ideas which create peace on the earth so that you can read and study Vedanta peacefully. I tell you, right? We say, hey Bhagavan, let there be peace everywhere so that हम लोगों को कोई मुसीबत ना हो, हम आराम से बैठ के अपना वेदांत के अध्ययन करें. हाँ, बस. How good. Bhakti, ultimately what can they teach anyway? My logic is simple. Whatever may be your title, ultimately we can sing bhajans and talk about non-violence and peace. Wonderful. In the name of Patanjali Yoga also, what will you talk? Non-violence, peace, values, devotion. What else? You can't say anything else anyway. Even if you call it some mystical, even a mystic also ultimately what he closes his eyes and tells the people sing bhajans. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hamara Ram kya aa jata hai? No problem. Whatever you want to do, in the name of spirituality, you can't do anything wrong. You will talk only about peace and non-violence and values, duties, etc. It's very beautiful. Gets connected to Brahma-vidya. It's connected, useful. Other than talking about sabko katal karenge, qatl karenge, khatm karenge. So Hindu says khatm kaise karte hain, kaise bolte hain? Khatam karenge. Khatam karenge. The Muslim says, how does it say? Khatm ka aur maaf combine ho jata hai. Khatm karenge. Now that this is excellent. Talking about non-violence, peace, oneness of humanity, oneness of God, and singing bhajans and veenas and thatas. There are a lot of veenas. Did you see that? You didn't see that? You can see that maybe today. It's very nice. That of veenas. It's a nice, peaceful crowd. It's a peaceful conference, peaceful function. Mela. Mela. That's wonderful. Only problem is, that is also wrong. These people, this Ramdev said something. We will lead the world, vagara. Those things should not say that. Who are we to lead? Swamiji aptly came and said, we don't want to make everybody a part of our family. Everybody has to lead himself. Not we have to lead everybody. Help them discover peace within themselves. So हमारा भारत की संस्कृति अब उगने का टाइम आ गया है. दिस पॉलिटिकल, अब उगने का टाइम आ गया है. अब हम पूरा दुनिया को हम लीडरशिप प्रोवाइड करें. क्या है यार टॉकिंग? लीडरशिप हो गया. Then it becomes very jarring for them. One Angrezi said, very nice, I liked it. You must understand from there. He said, how do you like about this Hinduism is talking? Somebody interviewed says, very nice, a lot of bhajans are going on, rhymes are going on, Veena, you all like Hindu culture? Yes. We all like this, peace, non-violence, etc. But then we follow our own religion. He says we follow our own religion, but we follow this also. Follow our own religion and we can learn something. So if you say something providing leadership to their religions and all that, they won't like it. That's irritating somebody. We will provide you with leadership means they would get, they would like it. Then the Hindus also will be looked upon as fundamentalists. Nobody can provide leadership to anybody, I am telling you. Everybody has to guide himself, for which there is a Shastra which talks about the truth. And then Uddhared Atmanatmanam Natmanam Avasade. Providing leadership here. कोई war थोड़ी चल रहा है. There is a war, then you have to provide them. General is there, brigadier is there, colonel is there, वगैरह वगैरह. And it becomes Hindus are trying to convert and all that. It becomes whatever. You have to project Hinduism as a different thing. It's not another cult-like thing. It has no other elements except teaching about man. That all that he wants is indeed already self. All come, we should create a thinking society. Make our society a thinking society, not merely a pious society. not merely a non-violent society, not merely a peaceful society, peace-loving society. There is no use of merely being peace-loving, because if you are only peace-loving, everybody is peace-loving anyway. Who doesn't love peace? Everybody is a peace-loving society. Ours is not just a peace-loving. We are peace-loving because we have a project. We have a lakshya. We have a goal. The peace-loving has become our nature because it has been our tradition to spend time and life to discover the truth that we are. For that Brahma Vidya, peace is very important. And therefore our love for Brahma Vidya has made us even loving the peace, even empirically. Atmosphere, there should be peace around so that we can be absorbed in our Vidya. So if we are only, then all that remains is only peace, lovingness, not vichara. You understand, that peace, lovingness was connected to vichara, vidya. That vidya is going, there is only peace, lovingness. Upaya remains, upeya is gone. Ji, are you able to follow? Upaya remains, upeya is gone. And upaya has no pramanyam without upeya. Upeya. That must be taught. Our society must be made a thinking, analyzing, studying society, literary, spiritually literary society. Spiritually literary society. Literary, not merely peace-loving, not merely non-violent, but literary society. We have to convert it. I think that they are doing it. Anyway, it is wonderful. There are so many people coming and chanting. Nice words. Are you married? All right. Are you your husband, Pati Dev? Okay. Are you? Anybody's birthday today? Birthday? Many happy returns of the day.